Hello everyone and welcome to Hellfire Citadel. This is a video showing you a Discipline Priest point of view where I will be going over the basic Discipline Priest rotation as well as some extra intricacies in the Discipline Priest playstyle. So to start out, let's go over the 6.2 Discipline Priest changes. There aren't any. Okay, that was easy. So because there aren't any, let's go into the basic strategy of how to play a Discipline Priest. This strategy is going to assume that you're using the Tier 17 two-piece bonus and the Tier 18 two-piece bonus. If you're raiding at the Mythic level, you should have access to both of these two sets, whether they be Normal Mode, Heroic Mode, or Mythic Mode. So if you're running the two-piece combination, you're going to want to use Solace on cooldown, and you're going to want to Friendly Penance on cooldown. You can see on the screen now I have a giant weak aura indicator that shows the buff uptime on the Tier 18 two-piece set bonus. What this set bonus does is it grants your penance a permanent 72% increase in healing. I say permanent because you should be able to maintain 100% uptime on this bonus. If you do that, your penances will be very, very strong 100% of the time. In this video, it was kind of a new set bonus to me, so you'll see it drop off maybe once or twice. But that's the reason the weak aura is so big, because it really is that important to have the 72% healing bonus. If you do these two things on cooldown, Solace and Friendly Penance, as your only evangelism builders, you will have 5 evangelism on time every time. Between your Archangel and evangelism cycle, Power Word Shield is your filler, obviously, and Prayer of Healing is going to be your large AoE heal as well as your level 90 talent. So for Hellfire Assault, the first boss in Hellfire Citadel, I spec'd Clarity of Will because I was paired with a Holy Priest. On previous kills I was paired with a Holy Paladin, so the tank healing wasn't needed as much. You will have to judge for yourself what your raid comp needs. For Hellfire Assault, going into it, something useful to know is that the raid damage is not very large, but the tank damage is very large and bursty from the hulking berserker. So anytime you have a hulking berserker up, you really need to be watching your tanks. On the pull here, there's quite a bit of random AoE damage going out, so I went ahead and used all of my CDs knowing they would be back up for the middle of the fight. I tried to keep Solace and Penance on cooldown as much as possible, and I had 5 stacks or close to 5 stacks when Archangel was ready. You should actually never have to smite. You'll see that I smited right there at 4 stacks because I was not being as diligent as I should have been with my evangelism builders. You'll also notice that my set bonus fell off here, so I had to spend a little bit of extra time building it back up that I should not have needed to spend. So when you go in and play your raids, you can learn from these mistakes, and you'll notice I had to spend 2 cycles getting it back up to 6 stacks, when in reality it should never ever drop from 6 stacks. There's not too much going on here, so I'm just trying to protect the tank with Clarity of Will. When we split, I actually lost my penance stack, so I wasn't prepared for this AoE damage that was incoming. And I got a little bit behind, so I had to spam Prayer of Healing a bit to catch back up. That's okay if it needs to happen, but in an ideal world, I would have been able to pre-shield the AoE incoming damage and save my mana for a part later in the fight that I needed it on. After the AoE damage is done, you see me right here going right back to Clarity of Will on the tank. And I'm actually holding Power Infusion. I know that we're going to be rejoining the other group in the middle soon, and the middle has a very, very large amount of raid-wide damage that's going to be coming out when we rejoin. So I'm going to hold my Power Infusion and keep everything else on CD as best as I can. This large cannon here is kind of the marker that I use. As I know as soon as this large cannon dies, then we're going to be going back into the middle. So when the large cannon's up, not only do I hold my power infusion, but I also hold my Archangel. There's actually no mobs out right now, so holding my Archangel was fine, and I even got off a channeled mana pot in preparation for this incoming damage. So the reason that we held PI is for this spot right here, the crazy middle combo. There's a ton of damage that we want to maximize our healing on. Our rotation doesn't change. You'll notice that I'm trying to keep Solace and Penance on CD as much as possible. Everything's happening very, very quickly. The only thing changing is that I'm spending less time on Clarity of Will, and I'm spending more time on Prayer of Healing and Cascade when it's needed. If I missed my Archangel, if I mismanaged my Evangelism stacks, I would lose a lot. I would lose a ton of AoE healing. But by staying disciplined in my rotation, I managed to hit my Archangel perfectly and continue on with my AoE healing. You'll notice that I was spamming quite a bit, just kind of going willy-nilly, spot healing as needed. And we managed to make it through with several deaths, but the fight is actually so easy that because we only lost 3 people, we were able to continue the fight. And here you see we've cleaned up the middle completely. We're just waiting for these sides to start again, and we ended up using one of our battle reses, and we're fine. We're good to go. We did everything that we could, and we split back up again. Once you get past the middle of the fight, the rest is very, very easy, so you really want to concentrate on dumping whatever you can, whatever you have at your disposal, just dump it into the middle of the fight there, and damage will cool back down once you split again. You'll notice here we killed everything on time, and there's absolutely nothing I'm doing right now. So, I mean, the fight is very slow-paced in that regard. We're just kind of waiting. The damage will actually ramp up again at the end of the fight, but as long as you survive, the fight will auto-complete as long as you live. So what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the fight is very, very aggressively using my mana to make sure that we just live as long as possible. You'll notice I'm holding my Archangel and my Power Infusion because nothing's really happening right now. I saw the Fellcaster start to transform, so I went ahead and used Archangel and started AoE spamming. There's a lot of pre-shields going out right here. There's some basic tank healing. And then I go right back into my Evangelism building rotation in preparation for my next Archangel. I did manage to save Power Infusion, which is going to come in handy here very soon. But in the meantime, I'll just be building Clarity of Will on the tank, pre-shielding whoever I can, trying to make sure that the rest of the fight is going as smooth as possible. You can see the boss health frames on the right-hand side underneath the map there. It's at 20%, so it's almost done. We still haven't lost anyone. I'm still mismanaging my penance stacks, so that's really my biggest downfall in this fight was mismanaging my penance stacks. Have to build it back up again. But here you see the damage start to really ramp up, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Power Infusion and start spamming some Prayer of Healings out until we can start killing off some people and get back on top of the damage. You'll notice the other side actually very nearly wipes, but like I said, as long as you can survive, the fight will auto-complete. So we just had them run over to us, and I tried keeping my side up as best as possible. You'll see I went through about 30-40% of my mana all within maybe 30 seconds, and that's fine. I know that the boss is about to die, so I just kind of dumped with Prayer of Healing. Prayer of Healing is a great tool you can use to dump your mana, so live to the end of the fight, and you guys should be good to complete Hellfire Assault.